It was -10 degrees Celsius on Christmas Eve when my dad locked me out in the snow for talking back at dinner. I watched them open presents through the window. An hour later, a black. There are moments in life that scorch themselves into your memory, moments so cold they feel like death. For me, it was a Christmas Eve when I was 15, standing barefoot in the brutal -10 degree snow, because my own father had just thrown me out like garbage. The weatherman had warned everyone to stay inside that night. It was the kind of cold that burns your lungs with every breath, makes your fingers go numb in minutes, the kind of cold that kills. I was wearing nothing but jeans, a thin sweater, and socks. No coat, no shoes, no hat, no gloves. My father, Raymond, had shoved me out the back door so hard I'd stumbled down the steps and landed on my knees in the snow. By the time I scrambled to my feet and ran around to the front, he'd already locked every single entrance. So, what was the crime that warranted potential hypothermia, you ask? I dared to correct him at Christmas Eve dinner. He'd been lecturing my younger sister, Miranda, about how women shouldn't pursue engineering degrees because they weren't built for mathematical thinking. I, perhaps foolishly, calmly and quietly stated that studies actually showed no cognitive difference between genders in mathematical ability. He'd gone absolutely purple. My mother, Claudia, just stared at her plate. Miranda shrank in her chair, disappearing as she always did. And my father? He grabbed me by the arm, dragged me through the kitchen, and literally thrown me into the night like I was trash. Through the living room window, I could see the Christmas tree, hundreds of white lights glowing, gifts piled underneath like a small mountain of red and gold wrapping paper. My family sat around it like nothing had happened. Raymond was laughing at something, his hand wrapped around a glass of whiskey. Claudia was arranging cookies on a tray. Miranda was curled up on the couch with a blanket, probably just relieved that for once, she wasn't the target. I knocked on the window. Claudia looked up, met my eyes, and then, deliberately, she turned away. She said something to Raymond, who glanced at me with this cold, chilling satisfaction before pulling the curtains closed. That was it. That was the moment something fundamental broke inside me. Parents are supposed to protect their children from harm. Mine had become the source of it. And my mother? The woman who was supposed to love me unconditionally, she chose her own comfort over my very survival. Now, I need to explain something about my childhood before I continue, because otherwise, you might think that Christmas Eve was some isolated incident, some kind of aberration in an otherwise normal family. It wasn't. That night was simply the logical conclusion of 15 years of escalating cruelty. Raymond had always been a difficult man, volatile, controlling, obsessed with respect and obedience. When I was very young, maybe 4 or 5, I remember thinking all fathers were like him. The explosive anger over minor infractions, the long silences that felt like storms gathering on the horizon, the way everyone in the house learned to read his moods and adjust their behavior accordingly. Claudia had perfected the art of appeasement, always smoothing things over, always making excuses, always finding ways to blame everyone except her husband for his outbursts. Your father works very hard, she would tell Miranda and me whenever we complained. He has a lot of stress. We need to be understanding. Understanding meant never disagreeing with him. It meant laughing at his jokes, even when they were cruel. It meant accepting his criticism as gospel truth. Full story on channel. Link below. Click now to watch what happened next.